Welcome to Road Talk, as we are aware that this month is all about focusing on men's mental health. It's a subject that should be taken seriously all year round, but in May, there's an extra heightened awareness of men reaching out and supporting each other regarding our mental well-being. And after much persuasion, probably 2 years later, I'm pleased to welcome a very good friend of mine, a football rival, and a colleague in, well, he's not a colleague in teaching, he's a teacher at British School in Majorca. Welcome, Marlon. How you doing?
I'm good, Gary. Nice to be here. How many interviews have you done, by the way?
A few,
yeah. You've waited all this time to get into your podcast, yeah?
Marlon, for the business in regards to you, your family, what you do, what your passions are.
Yes. A teacher. I teach Queen's College in Majorca, which is a British international school. I've moved here 10 years ago. I worked in a school called Belvedere International College. Met my lovely wife there. We got married in 2017.
So it was more of a dating agency than actually a professional as a school team.
Yeah, maybe. I love making school. I don't know. Yeah. So do you want to call it that? Yeah, no, we hit it off. And yeah, we got married, as I said, in 2017. And we've got two boys, Oscar and Marcos. Oscar is from a previous relationship, but I'm dad to him, which is great. Dad, he has since we got married. Yeah. And then we've got the little lovely young Marcos. And Dad is, who's 5 and keeps us on our toes. But, you know, I'm very blessed in that sense, for sure. And as one of my passions is, of course, is history, because I teach it. And yeah, I do also like a little bit of football.
So you know I'm going to teach you. You're passionate about teaching about dead people.
Right, yeah. You're not the first person that said that to me. Yes, I teach about dead people. And I don't just teach about the wars as well. No, I think I've always been interested in history because of the stories, actually.
Yeah.
It's the stories. And we a lot from the past and about the stories. So I think I've always been intrigued with that. And actually, I was better at geography than I was at history at school, by the way. But I was always more interested in history. I think I've become a better historian through my teaching, if that makes sense.
Well, how school overhead compared to the that teacher back in London, so you can let people know in terms of where you grew up there, the type of school you worked at and the challenges you faced there?
Yeah, I came into teaching quite late, and the first school I taught at was actually then known as the Free and Graduate School. It changed its name in 2011 to the Urswick School. And to be honest with you, that was where I really learned my craft. I have a lot to thank in terms of the people I met. I had a great head of department. He pushed me. He was a bit of a taskmaster, but he was an absolute perfectionist. The head teacher at the time, Richard Brown, he was very much trying to gravitate the school to better things, which he's done. He also used to say things like teaching is the best profession in the world, and he believed it. And that I think it is one of the best. I love what I do. And as Steve Jobs said, if you love what you do, great things. And I'm not saying that I'm great. You've got to love what you do, for sure. And that's important. But London was great because I do miss the banter with the students. I do miss they're coming from nothing, poverty, and they've all got a story to tell. And then you just see how education can transform them and what it can do. And the fact that it can open gates is wonderful. Here it's a bit different.
Okay.
We're talking about people who want a British education and are prepared to pay for it. But at the same time, these children still have issues and needs that we need to provide, for sure.
But what are some of the issues and needs that you tend to face or tackle?
Well, just because this is talking about mental health, I think students in particular face more mental health issues now than they ever did before, or maybe it's come to light. I do think social media is a problem. I'm not going to lie. It's a huge problem. We all want to be liked. We all want to be loved. And children, I think, just need to embrace who they are, whether they're into history, into sport, a great piano player. We all have talent. As I'm sure you say, that's one of your mottos is that we've all got talent and we all need to use that talent.
Some more than others.
So, yes, for sure. For sure. Do you think Darwin Nunes? I don't know that. No, it's joking. So yeah, it's just different. It's a different clientele. You've got to treat the parents differently. However, you can take the boy out of London, but you can't take the London out of the boy. So I still have that mindset of trying to push. And it's not always about the teacher, it's also about the student. We can't work miracle. We're not Jesus, are we? We're not Jesus. We can't turn water to wine, but I think it's tough being a teenager now. I used to think my life was tough. I think it's tough. What do you think? Do you think teenagers face more issues than ever before?
I would say very similar issues, different modes. Don't start and say social media, whereas when I was growing up, when we were growing up, you wouldn't have it publicized. It'd be within your small photo of friends. You would still have friendship issues and boyfriend and girlfriend, but not there for everyone to see. And it would have been this constant obsession about putting something out there. Who likes it? Have they commented? Are they not? WhatsApp groups. I think it's much more the same, but different methods. And I imagine with you, Marlon, in regards to the contrast from London, Hackney, it's how would you call it? A challenging area.
Yeah,
it's a hard area to grow up in and do well in, especially back then.
You're polarizing it, aren't you? You've got, as you say, you've got Hackney, which actually now has become gentrified. Yeah. But yes, and here it's very different. But kids are actually here. I say kids. The students can actually be more demanding in it, maybe because their parents own businesses. They can't give them the time that they want. They come to school and they want your attention. They want you to see that they've done this or they've done that. So it's different. So I wouldn't say that the contrast is so blatant, but I would say that in the reward could be maybe greater. However, I don't treat them differently. I see them as a future, because we could be teaching future politicians, future engineers, people that can make a difference in the world. That's how you've got to think. And that is, for me, is the most important thing. Life skills as well, Gary. And if you're a life coach, you don't just educate, you are teaching them life skills. And that is important. No one taught me before I went to university anything about money. No one. And I tell you what, if they had, I wouldn't have raked up all that debt and be very hot in my late 20s.
Yeah.
So it's something that we need to think about for sure.
And as a teacher, you listen to the news in the UK and don't know how it compares to over here, but it does appear to be you're undervalued, underappreciated, underpaid. Yet, as we mentioned earlier, I've always said to you many times that it is next to being a doctor the best profession in the world, because you're educating the future generations, but it just doesn't appear by society that you're valued on the same equal status.
I don't want to come across as teachers should get paid more than anyone else. I think that you have to value everyone in society, from the cleaner to the person who's a caretaker.
Sure.
They all need to be valued. But I do think here, yes, that there is maybe not the same, they pay teachers the same as they do in the UK. However, there is more stress in the UK. Here, we don't have the same stress, not as bureaucratic, for example. I don't know professions, you said doctors, teachers, but firefighters, police as well, they do a great job.
But we're going back to education.
Okay.
I'm saying people that are educated, yes, so you'd hope that they'll make better choices. Definitely. And they'll have better opportunities. Without education, no, you have to have. The route is, well, I'll design my own path.
Yeah.
And it's obviously often not a very good path.
Are you saying that actually is just people now feel that they can make careers out of YouTube? They've got that form. Yeah. That's a distraction. Is I can make lots of money if I become a successful YouTuber. Yes, the YouTube has been great. It's developed skills, but you still need your bread and butter, don't you? Before you have the sandwich, you need your bread and your butter, and before you put anything else in, you need that platform, and it's a pillar of society. So I agree with you on that. Yeah, for sure.
Growing up, I had friends who became teachers, and we used to give them stick because, you don't do any work. It's a 9 to 2 o'clock job. You have 6 weeks holiday during the year, and some in the UK, half term Christmas when you actually work. But I know the reality is different. Tell me how you, and they may not, don't have to mention it before, your wife is also a teacher.
Yeah.
Tell me about the pressures now you manage that both being teachers and having two children as well at your respective schools.
Yeah. My wife, Jane, she also teaches. She is now the business studies teacher at Belvedere. And, what she does, her dad, she gets up, crack of dawn, she's making food before anyone's even up. She's preparing the bags. Then she's obviously got to go and do her job. She's a tutor. She's then got to teach her subject. She's been preparing lessons. And then when she gets back, she's got to think about homework for Oscar in particular. And then if she has a chance, it's think about her work. And then obviously there's food on top of that as well. So if that was maintained, for example, 45 plus weeks of the year, you'd have burnout because we need time to prepare. If you want good teachers, you've got to give them the time to prepare and to recharge. And I think people in the profession understand that better. I know you make jokes that you're on holiday again.
And the fiestas, but yeah.
Fiestas are great. Tell you what, when I came here, I was I've got another day off. I'm loving it. I couldn't believe it. Christmas, you get a mini holiday, which I didn't know about because it's the Constitution when it's a democratic country. I didn't even know these things until I was here. Brilliant. But yes, we do get holidays, but to teach in August over here, can you imagine that?
Yeah, I feel sorry.
You don't feel sorry. Your face says it all.
Yeah.
No, you need that to recharge. I think to have better teachers, the best teachers will always be on the job. I'm always thinking when I watch something, if I watch something that's related to what I'm doing, I could use that. Or if I see something, that news article, maybe that's a problem because you need to switch off. But I think the best teachers do see these things. Like they'll watch the news and they'll see something. You were talking about in London earlier on. What about the young 14-year-old that died because of that attack? I could use something like that in my law and criminality section for global perspectives. Not saying because something bad's happened, I can use it, but it's about what is possessing someone to do that to a child. And also we need to understand mental health. Why is someone doing that? And why are we not as society helping them? Because we need to. That could have been prevented. You just don't know.
Yeah.
But I hope I've answered your question.
Yes. And bringing it more personally to you, Marlon. So you was at Belvedere for how many years?
I was at Belvedere for 8 years.
For 8 years. So then you made I say transfer, so like a football transfer, but you didn't make the transfer to...
100 million teacher, I was the different rights.
All right. So which teacher tapped you up? Okay. So you made a transfer to Queen's College, and this would have been 2022. So 2022, 2023 was your first full academic year. Yeah. How did you find that period from going from a place of not comfort, but you know it, you're well respected in that school, the students love you. A new program, you're still a teacher, but it's different.
Really good question. I probably didn't realise how much I depend, because me and my wife worked in the same school, how much I depended on her. Just to run it sometimes, just to get things off your chest. She was always very good at listening and to what I had to say. Even if it was something petty, like when I was in management, I'd go, "Oh, God, that guy, he's just weird." She'd listen to me. And then I'm not in management now, but when you move and you have to bottle those thoughts up. I don't want to come home and tell her, "Oh, this has happened or this has happened," but it was really difficult. It's like moving house. They say moving house and getting married, two of the most stressful things you do. I think moving job, even if it's in the same profession, can be really stressful. And we've got 2 sites, so we're going from one place to another. So you can imagine, they made a joke. The head teacher said you'd get a scooter, but you know what? A scooter would actually be handy. We've got all these bags. I've got big backpacks full of stuff, which my wife says I never yet actually used. But that was a real challenge. And you've got my son Oscar also has moved, jumping to secondary. That's difficult for him. And then we've got the little one, Marcos, moving about to move to school. So you've got all these challenges. So it was difficult for sure.
So how did you cope? Because I know we play football on a Tuesday night and that's a great release and escape for you. But there was also a period where you stopped going to football on a Tuesday night. And if I remember correctly, that wasn't a great period for you. You're thinking back to February, March last year.
No, there was also an incident with someone I didn't particularly think was using the Tuesday night in the right way. And I think that affected the dynamic of the group. Clearly that person may also had issues going on that we don't know about. But I just withdrew myself as well into my shell. And yes, I stopped playing football. That was probably a mistake on my part, because that's a release. And if you don't have those releases, whatever they are, I do suffer from anger sometimes, and I wasn't getting that. So it was really difficult period for me. And I think I just got worse and worse. I was letting things get to me. I wasn't coping with what I was doing at work. I was moaning a lot. I wasn't being proactive and trying to find solutions to the problems. And I wasn't talking about it. And I think that's the problem I had, is I didn't talk about it. And my wife saw changes in my behavior and said that you're suffering here. You need to be careful. And to be fair to her, yeah, she's usually right. And she was right. And I have her to thank, because she saw the signs, she saw the signals. And I think other things can affect your mental health, like just watching your football team. And if you put too much emotion into things that are not out of your control, that's not good. Try and control what you can control, like going your job, like your family, things like that. What do you think mental health is when things are out, when you lose your mental health, when things are out of your control? Do you think it is about controlling that? Or is that a problem? Do you think we should have those outlets? Do we need those outlets? I don't know.
There's a place. For example, going back to our comedy-based football, I do believe if there's a place on a football pitch to have an outburst, it's not really damaging your own team or other people, it's not overstepping the mark. But I think there's a time to release, because we can with things, we accept subconsciously, this is how, to use that common word, our release. This is where we let it out. And I don't know if James is saying this with my wife, Sarah, but if I don't go on a Tuesday night, I'm worse for the week, because I haven't released everything that I'm going through. So she would encourage me, no, Gary needs football. And so in answer to your question, I believe that whether it's going for a run, some people do yoga, I think some form of physical exercise, especially when you're in a profession such as yours, where it's mental, you're thinking all the time, you need that just to break it up.
That's a great point. You're right that we're using our brain all the time. The amount of words we read per day, I don't mean the average person, particularly, I'm just saying teachers, for example, but we probably read thousands of words per day, like you do when you're doing your study. And you're right, that is an impact on your brain. So we need that outlet. And I think I did do boxing last year, which I love. But when you stop doing those things, it's difficult. I see that with my son. I see how much football has helped him. And that's important. And I think do physical activity or something for as long as you possibly can. And that will help your mental health, definitely.
Certainly. And what concerns me most with regards to you, obviously, I see you personally as a friend before anything else, was that you isolated yourself. You initially said, okay, I'm having a break. Then that break got longer, and then the isolation. And it was like, where's Marlon? During that time, did anybody reach out to you just to say, oh, how are you doing?
Of course, my family were keeping a close eye on me. To be fair, when things got bad, I have to say, my wife, first and foremost, was brilliant, absolutely brilliant. And I'm lucky. But my sisters, even my brother reached out to me, a close friend, obviously yourself as well. You knew what was going on. So you were checking. And I think as well, I know that we're making this podcast, need to beat that up, Gary, because you do look out and ask people how they are, how they're doing. And that quality is really important. You might not be fine. It's okay to not be okay. But I think just asking someone how they are, how their day's been, it's nice. And you feel valued. You feel like, oh, that person's taking an interest. And that's a credit to yourself. I think that's a really important quality, because not everyone can do that. Yeah, people did. But I think because a lot of my really close friends were in England, they were like, you'd go to the pub and you'd chat and you might open up. It was really at home and my immediate family. And even my dad, I've got to say, bless him, my dad was asking how I was and taking an interest. And I've got a lot of respect for my dad, because he's probably suffered himself from mental health issues and never really talked about it. He's an old-fashioned man, as you can imagine. But yeah.
Well, thank you for your encouragement. But the reason why I do that more naturally now, because I've been where you're not in a great place. Yeah. And people don't check for you. Obviously, outside your immediate family, your wife mainly knows what's going on. But you go missing for a few weeks and you think, okay, nobody's actually said, oh, how's Gary doing? I'm not talking about Majorca, but definitely back in London. And it's just, as you said, just knowing that someone's thinking about you, someone's hearing about you. And no matter what dark place, it is a boost. It's a glimmer of okay. And you can understand why people, when they get to the really dark holes and they do desperate things, often it's because nobody's reached out.
Yeah. And also, I think people put themselves under a lot of pressures and strain. And I've seen that as well with my wife, where she's put a lot of pressure and strain on herself. And I think that's a lot to do with society now. We are trying to be the best we can be, but sometimes you don't need to be the best. You just need to be able to do something well. The pressures that men and women put themselves under is immense now. We're living in a time where our wages aren't going up, but everything else is going up. Mm. We still want the same things. We still want the holidays. We still want the car. We still want the gizmos and the gadgets.
Yeah.
And that's a problem as well, because we can't always say no to our children. We got told no all the time.
Yeah.
So I can remember. And it was like, oh, you might have it at Christmas. And that was when it was Christmas, like, oh, he's going to bring everything I've ever wanted. And then you realize, actually, I got half of what I wanted.
Yeah.
Pressures of society that's a big factor in mental health, I think, as well. And there are things we don't hear about. Let me give you some statistics, Gary. You probably know this, but regarding men, 70% of men, according to a poll, have suffered mental health issues. 40% don't want to talk about it because they are embarrassed or scared. Why?
Yes, absolutely right. And even speaking with a client earlier today, and he asked me blatantly, a guy, is this okay, me doing this? Is this safe? Like, as a guy, me coming to see a therapist? And that was his biggest concern. Have I got permission to do this? Or is this being seen as weak? Even though he was in need to have a safe space to share the issues that he's going through at the moment. So the stats don't lie. And I would say, however, that the more awareness, and I know some people use it as a tag strap line. Yeah, men must talk or men talk more, but no, there's more we can talk about it like this. Is even football's changed now on a Tuesday night, because it used to be play football, go home. And now we have that space where we go for a drink afterwards, we watch a game. But within that, we'll break up into two groups of 2 or 3, and we'll start speaking about what's going on in their lives. Not every week, but people know that's a space where they can offload, share. And that's why I believe that men have struggled generally more than women, because women do talk.
They do, yeah.
They will share. They don't have that same barrier or stigma attached to sharing that I'm struggling. Whereas a guy be like, how you doing, mate? Yeah, I'm fine.
There's not the inhibition with women, is it? Whereas men, there is. We don't want to say the wrong thing because of, as you said, about weaknesses. I don't think we are. Men have changed, Gary. I don't mean men have changed completely, but men have changed. We're not the old. Look at let's take the football analogy. Management's changed now. You can't just bark and shout and scream at people anymore. You men have changed now because men are doing, say, jobs that women were doing. A man can also cook as well. A man can also be. I actually I know you can laugh if you want. I like mining. Well, look at all. Something look better than Sarah. Oh, yeah, there you go. We can start ironing. Roll them out. I find it therapeutic. It actually relaxes me.
Yeah.
Doesn't iron anything for me, but she does a lot of that thing before she starts to eat.
Well, edit that, Bob.
Yeah. And also, I like hoovering and things like that. I had to do these jobs when I was younger because there was no mum around.
Yeah. You've touched upon it, Marlon, about no mum around. If it's okay with you, can you explain to listeners how you lost your mum?
Yeah. I think a lot of my deep-rooted mental health issues probably had to do with losing my mum. I was 11, my sister was 9, my other sister was 7, and the youngest was 5. And you think Marcus is 5 now, and he needs so much help and care. And yeah, our world changed completely. I still remember it vividly. You can remember things that happened. Yeah. Like when I won the league. But that, I can't tell you how the impact that had. I could probably have been better at school than I was. I could have probably done a lot better at many things, but seeing my dad have to struggle to do what he did with 4 children, we struggled with 2, and it's difficult. Yeah. I can't tell you how much credit I give him, but also it would have been good for him to have family around. He didn't have that because he moved from South Africa to London. I don't want to, this is not a sob story, but yeah, I think a lot of my anger comes out because maybe I had to grow up too quickly, and I know my life would have been very different. And I only think my own 2 kids need mums. So they are the most important parent, I think, but they also need a father to help them with certain things. We can give them the tough love, taking them to football, for example, or being, if they get a bad grade, not putting an arm around them, just giving them that encouragement. It's difficult, and it's something that I'm really probably never, ever going to get over. I don't think I'll ever get over that, to be honest with you. Is that a bad answer? How can you get over something like that?
Is it an honest answer?
Yeah,
well, that's the answer we're looking for. That's the response. And there's a reason why we have 2 parents, a mother and a father, and actually through life circumstances, it doesn't always turn out that way, whether it's through death, divorce, adoption even. And when you married Jay, you took on Oscar as your own son, and then you had Marcus. When you see the role that Jane plays, and you've mentioned earlier how much does it make you think back to what your mum did for you, and also what you were rocked for? Yeah, in a horrible way.
Yeah, you're right. She's the most fantastic mother. Look, I don't want to agree with everything she does. However, the love and time, and she's always putting the kids first, is brilliant. My mum was the same. Her kids came first. She did everything for her children. She encouraged. She was very hands-on with everything. And I don't just mean like with school, with going to swimming, football, things like that. When my mum passed away, the things that I used to love, I wasn't doing. So it was difficult. And I don't think my dad knew really how to, he had his own ways. But of course, when they were together, he was the strict one, but he handed a lot of the reins over to my mum because she spent more time with us. Now, all of a sudden, he's spending more time. You want to do it your way. And why not? It doesn't mean it's right. There's no right or wrong way. There's some good, brilliant things I learned from my dad, but there's also been some things that I wouldn't want to do to my own children. Sometimes they come out, which I'm not proud of, but yeah, you're right. I think what you said, we need 2 parents. And I think that's another problem. Do people that suffer from mental health issues have issues regarding when they were younger and their parents? Maybe their parents are divorced, and that's a problem.
Well, the subject you'll come on to now, Marlon, is trauma. And losing your mum is trauma. It's a trauma meaning deep wound. That is a deep wound. You'll never get over it. You'll live with it, you'll manage, and life moves on. But the fact remains, I've lost my mother. You lost her at a very early age. And it sounds like the 11-year-old Marlon had to step up quickly because there's younger siblings. You've got to become practical, and you perhaps have that space to fully grieve, ask certain questions, all that. And your dad's not going operational mode. I've got children to look after. He probably did have the space to grieve and fully take on because you've got family to feed.
Yeah, I think that's an important point that you've made, is that you just got to get on with it. You've got to roll your sleeves up. But that's what he did. I was very much, I don't want to say, I just got on with things at school. Not always in the best headspace to do things. School was difficult because people were quite nasty. They made comments about my mum. It wasn't a happy time
So even though they knew your mum and pop,
Yeah.
they would still make comments about you
Yeah.
doing it.
I think,
Oh, it's so cruel.
yeah. It's not always the safest place that we think. It happens.
Can be cruel, I should say.
Yeah.
Can be cruel.
But we can only control a certain amount of things. And kids, unfortunately, or students think that it's funny. But yeah, these things scar you and live with you, but you become a better person. And I remember two things when I graduated and when I got married. And I remember my dad saying, well, Mum would be so proud of you. And that meant the world to me, absolute world. That was like, yeah, she would. And that gave me some peace, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Some peace, not completely. I still haven't got over Arsenal losing the league last year. Don't think I will, to be honest with you.
And talking about Arsenal losing the league last year, I do firmly believe they'll win it this year, regardless of City's and remaining games. But your approach has been different, because another reason I was concerned about you last year, you were really allowing Arsenal to manage your emotions.
Yeah.
And when they were doing well, you were up there. But when they went on that slide, the other side of mine came out.
Yeah, that's really observant of you. Yeah, I think the problem is we look at things to try and sometimes bring out joy for us. And really, we should look at the things right next to us, like our family, like our friends. And you look at football and it is out of your control. And yeah, I think I was on that wave and emotions that were coming out. Whereas this year, I was like, I'm not going to get myself into that situation, because what will be case or up. Yeah, it's a bit of a cliche, I know. And you enjoy it more when you just relax, and it's nicer. You don't feel, although you wouldn't have said that when I was watching Arsenal Tottenham, and Oscar will tell you, I was
It's a little bit of the dark, isn't it?
there was that went out the window. But trust me. But yes, I think you just need to, there's certain things we can control, certain things we can't control. And I think if we can control things, we've got a better understanding of our mental health. But we do need to look out for signs and triggers. And I think there were certain triggers last year that were going on that I should have really thought, no, this isn't good. However, it can be emotional. Football is emotional. I've seen you play. I've seen the way you play something.
Anyway, moving on. Look about, we're coming towards the end now. When you went for the dark period last year, the challenge of starting a new school, new environment, getting used to that, and that's actually comfort zone. I remember saying to you, the first year is going to be tough, maybe the first year, and the second year will be easier. But the close group that we've got within the football team, Rich and Craig, they didn't know about it. And we speak, on WhatsApp chat all the time and how it going, you're involved with that. But I'm sure they would have wanted to know about it to help you, to support you. The question I'm asking is, if you went through that dark period again, hopefully you won't, but we don't know the future, would you be more willing or able to share what you're going through?
Yeah, I think there are, for example, at school, I'm lucky I have a colleague, Janet, who I can just let, I was ranting the other day about something school related, but I feel I can do that. If I trust or feel comfortable with someone, you will see who I am. Yeah. And I think that's important. It's hard on a Tuesday sometimes to talk to people, because it's only when you actually start talking about their life.
Yeah, because people have opened up to you, haven't they?
Yes, they have, and it's great, because you start to learn about the man, what makes the man. I think probably kept a lot of things to myself. The only really personally knew what was going on was my wife.
Yeah.
But I think, Belvedere, I knew people for longer. Queens, I'm starting to get like that. But there's probably, again, like anywhere, a few people that you talk to. I remember the owner saying to me, if you need, because of what happened to me, if you need to talk to me, my door is open. And just by saying that, I felt like, wow, I can actually go in and say if I've got a problem. I never probably felt, I was always treaded on eggshells, because it's you, Gary.
Yeah.
You don't want to, well, guess what? I don't think I'm really coping with this.
Yeah, the new teacher's not coping. That'd be the headline. It all could be the headline.
Yeah. I have this kind of, not facade, but I'm showing that you can see on my face if I'm happy or sad or whatever, but I'm also just get on with it. And I think that's what I've had to do all my whole life, is just get on with it. But now I'm at an stage in my life where I think, if you're not coping, I should be able to say something. And my wife says it to me, so I should be able to go, yeah, I'm not coping, and not be embarrassed about it. And that's another problem with mental health. We are embarrassed to say we're not coping. Are you the same? Do you think that there's got to be times in your week where you've got an interview or you've got to do this assignment, and then you've got you've got clients, and you're probably thinking, I'm doing too much here. And you're not eating. I bet there's times where you can't even grab something to eat. That's important. Food, just getting food in us is important. I don't know. It's just a theory. I don't really talk about, by the way. But of course. And one of the great benefits or privileges, I say, of being on this island, that you don't have to spend £1,000 to get away. So Paul de Pienza is might really go there once every 3 months, and it's just a different environment, different air where I can gather my thoughts. But yes, the build up to that, and I recognise that, Gary, I'm in a good place. I know when football's not helping, and you can turn up to football not in a good space, and if football doesn't go well, they do aggregate. Yeah, go home with the works. Yeah, happened to you. Yeah, and then if Liverpool loses.
Tuesday night, it's yeah. It can, but it manifests, doesn't it?
Yeah. What you said, many great things today, Marlon, and what definitely one of the ones that needs to be resonated amongst us men is don't be embarrassed by it. And that's often the fear, that the embarrassment, the shame, how I want to be perceived. Yet the need is there. Wow, I would say, echo what your dad said, your mum is and would be proud of you. And in terms of the man you've become, and you said that you may have achieved more at a better school, you don't know. Because in spite of it, you still went on that path. And in your calling, you're a passionate teacher. I speak to so many students who you look after, and they all have very positive words to say about you. They say you're challenging, you're tough, and above all, they know you care.
Yeah, I paid them a lot of money to say that. But yeah, no, I think, there are certain things that I think if you enjoy something that you're doing, and I'm glad they appreciate it, but we need to pass the baton to them.
Yeah.
We need to think about our children, our grandchildren, and that's important. And that's why we do it, because we're not going to be here one day, and we want society to evolve, don't we? But we'll see.
Final question, Marlon. Oscar's age?
Oscar's 13. Teenager.
Yeah.
See, he's got all the ears and braces of a teenager now. Yeah.
And Marcos?
John Paul now.
I was like a young adult told me the other day, they spent £500 on aftershave. I didn't even know such aftershave existed. Anyway. I'm trying to invite you about those troubles in Hackney.
No.
And Marcus is age 5. So let's say 15 years time. What message would you want to be sharing to both Oscar and Marcus in terms of them becoming men?
Brilliant question. Just be proud of who you are. I'm going to use this quote. I like a quote. You can tell I teach history. Remember who you are and what you represent. That is all I can say. And that was a quote as by a legendary poet. I won't know the names, but it's true. It goes in life. And I think they're learning a lot. Children are learning a lot now. And hopefully when they become adults, they'll appreciate it. And I'm sure they will. But that's my answer to that question.
No. Great ending. And Marlon, it's been great to get to know you as a friend. And through that friendship, I see you as a husband. I often comment about how you still look at Jane indulgently. I love
don't tell her.
The father, I also the challenges, and we've exchanged those. But what's nice, as I say to many people, you still show up. You still turn up, and you're still there to represent. And that's what you are. You're remembering who you are, and you're remembering who you're representing yourself and your family first and foremost. Although it's been a while to get you on here, it's been the perfect time, been a great privilege. Can we use that word so many times, especially during podcast interview? It's been enjoyable. It's been educational.
Brilliant.
It's been enjoyable and educational having you sit there next to me and share part of your story.